All right, good afternoon, traders. Today's March 31st, last day of the month. A little bit of window dressing happening today. My name is John Kerrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room. This is the BYOB Market Review or Trade Review Market Wrap Up. Hey, let's take a look at some charts today. All right, so we had a gap down. There was a serious gap down. I think it was over... well, you can see right here we left off at about 556, and we got down to $6, down to 550, and then we gave it two candles down. And if you were with me in the morning video, I kind of mentioned that we're right into support, and there's a chance we double bottom. Being the other bottom would be over here, right here, double bottom. All right, and we wind up reversing, okay, today or tomorrow, okay? I was kind of expecting it today after seeing a lot of that consolidation in the overnight futures action. A lot of accumulation I saw in the overnight futures. So anyways, on the 10-minute, all right, you can see two candles down, then they recovered VWAP. All right, then we had a little pullback, and then they recovered. So we had kind of an Oreo right there, all right, or a bear sandwich where the red candle is the meat in the middle. All right, then we commenced a 10-minute uptrend. You had a 5-minute uptrend that you could have commenced a little bit sooner right there, all right, on that 5-minute uptrend, and you could have stayed in this. Well, if you were in it on the 10, you were stuck in this until this red candle right here on the 10. That triggered you out. They recovered it the very next candle right after that. And you can see you had a green erases red event right after that. Okay, right over the top. There was a green erases red entry right there. And of course, you had another green erases red entry right here. All right, and you had a green erases red right here. So you had three different entries here. Had another green erases red right there. Another green erases red right there. And we will get another green erases red if they keep moving up there in the afternoon, okay? But anyways, nice 10-minute uptrend. It's our flagship trade, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, especially like this trade when we see price action running away or that 8 EMA separating from the VWAP here. See the brown? You can see the 8 EMA, which would be the white line right there. See the separation as the circles get larger right there. All right, so nice 10-minute uptrend. Then they started to converge a little bit. Then they reopened up. All right, you can see the circles just get bigger and bigger. And you can see price action running away from VWAP. It's actually got VWAP dragging VWAP up with it. So bulls were on fire today. Okay, we had a bearish gap down. It's a $6 gap. Okay, and you can see the bulls came in and filled the gap and then some, all right? Because 556 was gap fill, and you can see we went clear up to almost 561 up here, okay? So that was like another $5 on top of the $6 gap fill that we got. So that was a nice move. So into the close, what did we get? We got a 5-minute uptrend. 10-minute uptrend, 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. See the candlesticks with the 3 over the 8. Okay, 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. All right, so we'll look for continuation of that tomorrow morning. I got to tell you, we closing the day very near the high of the day. Okay, for SPY on the 2-hour chart. All right, not quite a 2-hour uptrend yet. Notice we're not out of the weeds yet. 2-hour chart still stuck in a downtrend on this big green candle. I suspect we will have a 2-hour uptrend when we open up tomorrow. That'll be Tuesday. All right, with the overnight price action, I'm sure this will eventually cross up there overnight, and we'll have probably a 2-hour uptrend coming into the open on tomorrow. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Gap down, move up. Okay, so lower high, lower low, closing below the bearish trap, but that was very bullish today. Underneath the falling 17, pick it up on the scratch. Okay, so we closed up near the midpoint. I'll zoom out, and you can see up right there, closing near the midpoint. That would be neutral there for SPY. All right, on the daily chart. Okay, still long ways off of that all-time high anchored VWAP, currently residing at 573. We got up as high as 591 today. Okay, so let's talk about a few of the scenarios that we have. All right, so let's talk about a bullish and bearish environment. Okay, so what we had today was a downtrend line. We actually had two downtrend lines. I'll draw in the first one right through here. All right, and that tops out right there. All right, so actually right about there. All right, so what we had is consolidation. All right, up over the downtrend line. That's a bullish environment. I don't think I've ever taught that to anyone before, so I want to make sure everybody gets this message now. Consolidation over the downtrend line is a bullish environment. Other bullish environments, let's talk about a few of them. All right, make this a learning event at the same time. Price moves up, holds the higher ground. Also a bullish environment. Okay, when price consolidates, all right, over prior consolidation, that's also a bullish environment. All right, so let's take this and kind of put that right in there, right there. So here we have price action resting on this line here, smacking it up there. So if we zoom in on these 10-minute candles, you can see we got consolidation over prior consolidation. That's a bullish environment. So we had a lot of bullish environments today. Okay, so here's consolidation right there. I'll drag it all the way over. Okay, and then we had consolidation over prior consolidation. That's a bullish environment. Bearish gap down and the bulls fill it. All right. In other words, the bears are too weak to hold the gap open. That's a bullish environment. Again, consolidating over the back on the back side of a downtrend line, also a bullish environment. Filling the gap, bullish. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, also another bullish environment. So you had a lot of clues here to kind of stay bullish. On top of that, we had the trend day. All right. So we had price action was in a 10-minute uptrend between the hours of 11 and noon. And pretty much when you get one of those days, it's going to bully all day. Now, we did get flipped out right here. Okay. And then this candle didn't help, but they recovered 10 minutes later right over here. And you can see right again where green erases red. See the red pulling back to here, and green erases red. Right there was an entry to climb up here, and we went right into a notch. So we got another uptrend line, downtrend line, and I'll go visit that. All right, I'm going to take this one off. All right, and the other downtrend line starts from here. All right, and cuts right through there. Okay, so we had a notch right here where price action was supposed to come up to. See right there? See right in that notch? All right, that was our target for today. All right, that was one of our targets. We had many targets. All right, at first we just wanted gap fill. All right, and we got that, and then we got consolidation over prior consolidation, and then that was looking good. And then we were looking for the notch right up in there, and you can see where we came right up to the notch. and we met that target right there. So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. So it was nice. It looks like, and Rickster says they could be repairing the uptrend. And I agree with you, Rickster. Yes. Double bottom, and it looks like they are headstrong and bound and determined to repair the uptrend that we had earlier. All right, if we take a look at that uptrend, we had an uptrend from here up to here till we fell out of bed on Friday. See right here on, actually on the 28th and the 29th. Actually, all of this is the 29th, and then we gapped down this morning. So we had an uptrend until Friday came along, and then let me just say, they really pulled the rug out, all right, right there. So we had an uptrend, see the low, and then we came in through here, we had that uptrend, and then they pulled the rug on Friday, and things just fell apart. So we came down to the support area. Okay, we had a double bottom. Here's our prior low, 550, big fat whole round number. It's a popular target. And of course, we got a double bottom right at 550. So it looks like they're trying to repair it, like Rickster says. So we could find ourselves back up pushing on the backside of this uptrend line right here. That would be nice. But that would be another, let's see how far that it gets. 571. We're at, let's just call it 560. All right, so that'd be another $10 move. All right, our ATR is 883. Maybe we take 3 days to get it done. Usually the second day of the igniting or the repair is the biggest, so it's highly likely that we find ourselves up here sometime tomorrow or Wednesday, right up on the backside of this. So we got some consolidation, all right, going on. Let's just point it out, just recognize it before we take off. Price pulls down, okay, pulls up, pulls back. So where would I think we're going next? Right back up there, re-challenge these highs, all right, and then we'll probably come back down again. And then somebody's going to either give us a half back there and we head south, or we go all the way through and do a half back here and head north. All right, we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of feeling like this might be the scenario. We'll see. I just want to make a reference to inflation. Inflation's still a little bit hot. It's at 0.04. Of course, you take that 0.04 and you multiply it by 12 months, you get 4.8. All right, so 4.8, that's pretty close to 5. I think the target's 2. All right, so it's still a little hot on the inflation. But I do want to point out that energy and fuel has come down by 15%. All right, and that will help squash future inflation, because it takes a lot of energy to make and produce and move anything. So just think about that. That would probably reduce overhead and cost, and that would certainly help bring inflation back in line. We'll see what happens. All right, fuel's lower now, so we'll see if they can hold those lows. So there's SPY. SPY's neutral. Let's go take a look at QQQ. Oh, by the way, the game plan was irrelevant today. All right. Actually, we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. That was the playable event right there. The game plan did not even take place. There was nothing to trade on the game plan today, but we did have 10-minute uptrend, and that's our go-to if we don't have a green erases red or a red erases green on the game plan. Kind of look for those 10-minute uptrend, 10-minute downtrend, either over or under VWAP. And of course, we got the over today, and we traded that. So if you take a look at the game plan, let's just zoom out a little bit here. All right, you can see the low side was here, and we never headed in the southern direction, so that was irrelevant. and we never popped the green. See up here, right over 559.90. All right, so we never kind of held a candle up there. We spiked it, but we couldn't hold up there. So that was the green erases red right there, and you can see we just barely got there at the end of the day, right there on SPY on the game plan. QQQ went through the same deal, all right, but they had a 10-minute uptrend, all right, over VWAP, and that was a tradable event right there on QQQ. So let's go look at QQQ, and you can see they couldn't even make it to the green line, all right? They couldn't even make it to the pivot. They just came back to the red line right here. So they just finally got back under minor resistance right here. This would be minor resistance. All right, let's take a look at QQQ on the scratch. On the daily chart, you can see lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. I think everybody got the same candle. They're all under the all-time high anchored VWAP. They're all under the trap. They're all under the 17. QQQ in a different spot. Down here in quadrant 1, that's still bearish on QQQ. I think we get some follow through tomorrow. All right, I'm feeling good. We close the day at the end of the day at the high of the day. Usually that gets some follow through action on the following day. So we'll see what happens though. I don't want to call it ahead of time, but that's a usual occurrence if you get closed at the high of the day at the end of the day. So let's take a look at FNGA. All right, again, everybody got the same candle. Again, closing down here in quadrant 1, that's still bearish. All right, FNGA, again, under the trap, under the 17. Pink line is always the all-time high anchored VWAP, and the gold line is the uptrend, under the uptrend. Quadrant 1, that's bearish. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Again, closing this one a little bit different. Diamond Dow showing some mustard here, all right, a little spinach, closing inside the trap as opposed to under the trap, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing under the 17, closing over the midpoint here, okay, so actually putting in a higher low of sorts, all right. Everything still is in a downtrend since they broke these lows that were placed earlier on the 21st. So they're all in downtrends because they broke and made lower lows. But Diamond Dow showing some strength here, closing inside the bearish trap as opposed to under it. So let's take a look at, again, that would be neutral right there. In a downtrend, it's just a label, all right, but neutral. Let's take a look at IWM. All right. This is what most everybody got. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under, see the pink line, all-time high anchored VWAP, under the gold line is the uptrend line, and down here in quadrant 1, that's bearish, IWM. All right. Let's take a look at technicals, T2122. Not much bullishness happening. You would have thought we would be up here in the buy zone with all of that we had. We just struggled to find our way just into the seller's chop zone. All right, you can see a move to the right, little consolidation over prior consolidation, and then little micro higher highs and higher lows wound up taking us right into the seller's chop zone. So there's T2122, T2123, not bullish. Again, bearish gap down. Bulls failed to fill the gap on T2123. See that? Still that bearish gap is still open. All right, so price action trying to make its way back up to that falling 200 SMA. Actually, it got flat here in this bear flag, so we'll see if they can get up and over that. They still got a lot of work to do. Little micro higher lows and higher highs here. That's it on T2123. 3 bar, you can see the obvious hockey stick or the bear flag. All right, you can see price action, comes down and moves over to the right. and then you got a breakdown. Okay, so we could be experiencing, it's a possibility, is a failed breakdown. And if that's the case, then we could find ourselves coming back up here, revisiting this fading 200 SMA, and possibly even the breakdown candle high right up here at the lower high. So we'll see what happens. All right, if they get a full bullish engulfing and then some, all right, we could see ourselves climbing back up to that fading 200 SMA. All right, so there's the 200 on the 3-bar chart, again pointed down. Here's two prior highs right here, two prior all-time highs. We're still underneath those. This is the all-time high, nowhere near it. And you can see what happened. We had a lower low, all right, and the bears were inspired. We had a lower high, and the bears were inspired, and they made a lower low here, okay? Notice the V bottom from the last bounce right here. Yeah, we didn't quite get that this time. We had a dead cat bounce or a hockey stick where price moved down and over to the right. That's a bearish outlook when you get that. Price moves down, holds the lower ground. That is bearish, all right? And you can see we got the bearish breakdown right there on Friday and a little bit further again today. Again, we couldn't fill the gap. So you look at it, 3 more red candle bars right there on the 3-bar chart. Again, I'll zoom in so you can see it. 3 more red candle bars. Had two or three green ones here, 25th and 26th, but not enough to make a difference. Got to start making some higher lows and some higher highs. All right. Price action today in SPY was good. All right. Let's just say, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Price action for SPY was good. All right. But all in all, we didn't make, all right, any real higher highs. See, there's the last high, or right up here. Okay, so we're still, not fully recovered. I mean, if you're on a 2-minute chart, yeah, we made some higher highs. Okay, but we still haven't taken out. We got up to this peak, made it just barely squeaked out, but they couldn't hold it. Still got to take out this high. That would be the one to take out on the 10-minute chart. So we still got a lot of work to do just to make a higher high. All right, so still, we did fill gap. That was good. All right, but we still got to get up over this, all right, and start making a higher high in order to be relevant. Other than that, we could find ourselves rolling over and visiting the low again. We'll see what happens. There's SPY on the 10-minute. Let's take a look at FNGU, okay. Bearish gap down. Notice the bulls came back, and I don't know if they filled gap. That's kind of close. I don't think so. Unable to fill the gap here on FNGA. All right, so another bearish outlook. We did the same thing on T2123. Now FNGA giving us the bulls just didn't have enough mustard to get the job done and fill the gap. All right, so still in bearish territory. All right, so underneath, again, price action consolidating under prior consolidation, obviously, so it's still very bearish. Yeah, we moved up today, but we're still not making any higher highs yet, and we failed to fill the bearish gap. We're caught underneath this flat 200, caught underneath this uptrend, and caught underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. So there's FNGA. Still a lot of work to be done there on FNGA. Let's take a look at a few sectors. Start off with XLE. All right, hit up XLE. XLE, why is it? Daily chart. There we go. All right, so XLE looking like a higher low, higher high. Closing over the bullish trap. That's good. Closing in the upper third. That's bullish. Closing over this 12-month high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Closing over 2 downtrend lines. Downtrend 1, downtrend 2, closing in the upper third, that's bullish, closing over the trap and over the rising 17. All of that's bullish up there for XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap, over the 17, over 3-year high anchored VWAP. That was the post-COVID high 3 years ago. Over the 3-year high, over the uptrend line, over the midpoint, knocking on the door to the upper third. So still neutral, but looking like it wants to be bullish again. So there's USO on the daily chart, still neutral. Do we have an uptrend? Not quite. If they take out that high, they're close, we'll have an uptrend. Okay, it's just a label, all right? But if they take out that peak right there, they can have an uptrend. Other than that, no dice yet, all right? So there's USOs. Take a look at high flyer UNG, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross over the flat 17 up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish over the uptrend line, over the 12-month high anchored VWAP. Again, that's bullish up there in quadrant 4. GLD. GLD, new all-time high for GLD. Okay, that's bullish. If you don't know that, when it's making new all-time highs, it can be nothing but bullish. Okay, there's GLD. Take a look at SLV. SLV, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17, over this. All right, this happens to be a 6-month high and a 12-year high anchored VWAP right there. That is a 12-year high and the 6-month high anchored VWAP, closing over that in the upper quadrant. All right, that's quadrant 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's bullish. All right, let's go take a look at SMH. All right, SMH, just like the indexes, lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap, under the 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. It's down here in quadrant 1. That's still bearish. Let's go look at the cousin to the SMH, which is the XLK. All right, the sibling. Lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the falling 17. Pink line under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, under the uptrend line. It's in the lower third still, so it's still bearish. Okay, so we got bearish on semiconductors and technology. Now, technology usually leads almost every rally, all right? So there's XLK. Not looking too good for rallies. XLF. XLF, wow, nice green candle. A lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish cross, over the pink line, all-time high anchored VWAP. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at IYT. Lower high, lower low, closing inside the lower third, so that's bearish, closing under the bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the pink line, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the uptrend line, that's the gold line right there. Okay, again, under the midpoint. So in the lower third, that's still bearish. All right, so we don't have anything working for us except for the financials. All right, and by the way, mortgage interest rates have come down in the last 4 months. I think this is a 4 to 5 month low for mortgage rates. That's awesome. All right, still want to see the Fed cut some rates. Oh, and by the way, big congratulations to Alan today in the room. Okay, Alan gets a Greedy Pig Award. All right, Alan made 10%. All right, in his whole account. Okay, so his whole account, he increased it over 10%. All right. Some others came in close too, which they should probably be on the Greedy Pig Award with, Alan. We had somebody else, Jim S., got 7 daily goals. Way to go, guys. A lot of people made, I got to say, a lot of people made some daily goals today. A lot of people took home some profit. A lot of good trades today. All right. I'm proud of you guys for sticking with that 10-minute trend. I know it was tough. It's kind of flat, long-lasting. It was a long day if you were playing that 10-minute trend. So, but if you stayed with it, you got rewarded. So nice going there for everybody in the room. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up. For me, I had an awesome day. Of course, it doesn't really matter about me because I always have an awesome day. It's what's important is that the people let me just say this. There's people in the room making money. All right. So if you're on the fence and you're not sure about wanting to learn how to day trade, I'm telling you, this is the place. All right. Come give us a shot. All right. And you can see I had great gains today as well. But the big thing is the people in the room here are making money. All right. That's what really matters. Can you come into this room and make some money? And I think you can. I think I can help you. I think I can teach you how to make profits. All right. So if you're on the fence, come give us a try. All right, that's it for me. I don't see any questions. All right. Thanks, JA. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, everyone. Congrats, everybody. Thank you for sticking with the trend. You guys did awesome. You guys are all rock stars. All right. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Hey, thanks, Lorene. Thanks, Brad. You do good, Brad. I think I saw a daily goal for you. I'm pretty sure I saw a daily goal. Yep. All right. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. I will see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. All right. Again, there'll be another 10-minute uptrend. There's always one coming along. Thanks, Ernie. Thanks, Scott B. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock.